Come to the successandmoneyfoundation.org. Let's talk about sales. Now, people are going, sales? I don't sell anything. Well, you do. The person you have to sell is the guy that you look at in the mirror every morning. You can call it sales, you can call it influence, you can call it persuasion, you can call it about whatever you would like to call it. But actually, what it is getting somebody to take action. The best salespeople in the world are not salespeople. They're not people that grind somebody in a corner. My friend Robert Allen used to say, forced against your will, you have the same opinion still. If somebody grinds you into the corner and forces you to do something, you still have the same opinion and it's not going to stick. The best salespeople in the world are people who solve problems. How do we solve problems? And then they give them a great solution to be able to do that. So we got Kurt in the house. So let's bring Kurt up. And we're going to be talking about how to influence yourself and those around you for good.
All right, here it is again, Sam Sales School. This is number 9. We're going to go to turning that no into a yes. What an important topic to be talking about, because the reason you get so much money and are highly paid salespeople is because they can deal with rejection, deal with the no, and that's okay. So you have to adjust your mindset here. Sometimes you're planting the no, you're expecting the no. You could turn that no into a yes. There are ways to do that. There are ways to handle the no. One of the big traits for great persuaders, great salespeople, is persistence. Now, speaking of persistence, you've done the homework, right? We talked about the gatekeeper last time, working through that. This is about doing the homework. This is also about being persistent, telling your family and friends about successandmoneyfoundation.org. The first time they might be busy, the second time they don't believe you, the third time it sounds interesting, the fourth time, maybe I should look at it, the fifth time, good reminder, the sixth time, they do it. That's sales, that's sharing a message, whatever it is that you do, that's just how it is. You gotta be like that donkey. Or we like to talk about donkeys. There's this old abandoned well. The farmer was going to fill it up. He was going to fill it up. And never did. And this old donkey wasn't worth much, wasn't very helpful around the farm anymore, fell into this well, and it was stuck. And the farmer's like, I don't have time. It's too old. What do we do? I'll just bury it as I fill up the well. But the donkey was still alive. But they poured the dirt on, and the donkey would shake it off, stomp it down, throw more dirt in, shake it off, stomp it down. You know the end of the story, to where it eventually got high enough and it jumped out. That's what sales is. That's what persistence is. You just do it until it happens. I love how Robert Allen talks about this, that look at your close ratio. We've talked about this. If you talk to 10 people and one eventually says yes, okay, and that one makes you $100, that means every no is worth $10 to you. What a great way of thinking about it. Say every no is worth $10, every no is worth $1,000. Then you can say thank you for the no, $10 check, $100 check, whatever it is, that is the key. So how do we turn this no into a yes? Let's talk about some things. First of all, get your mindset. Expect the yes, and no's are okay. Let me give you an example. Trained negotiators, professional negotiators, can't say yes till they have 3, 4, 5 no's out of the way. It's part of the process. Okay, the game's on. Let's go. They said no. That's the thing. So let's talk about the keys to know when to change course, when to pivot, when to know how to listen. Now, what are the main challenges of listening? Well, first thing is you got to own up we stink at it. We can all improve at what we need to do. Most of us haven't had the training to really listen with your ears, eyes, and your heart. You're thinking about other things. You've never been trained to really pick out what they're saying, why they're saying it. Remember, you're a detective here, and you got to listen to every word, how they say it, look at their body language. That's the key. So that's the first one. There's been no training. Second one is your brain's always thinking about a response. That's just right. So you're not wired to be a great listener. You're not. Because, you're listening, you're pretending to listen at least, and you have that great idea, that thought, you have the solution, you want to break in, but you have to let them finish. You can't just break in and your brain's like, I'm going to forget, and you want to break in. You're always thinking about a response. Your brain's cruising at 800 words per minute. People talk at 150, 200 words per minute, so you have plenty of time for your brain to do this. Just bring a pad of paper. On the left, write your questions. On the right, if you do have a thought, an idea, an opinion, a solution, write it down. Feel your brain go, whoo, and you'll be able to be a better listener, an active listener. Next one, not concentrating, not caring. You're just not there. You heard the no and you're just like, whatever, they won't do it, putting my time. You've got to give them 100%. You're just not concentrating. And get on that body language, on the person. That's key. Another reason we're not very good at this, jumping to conclusions, thinking that you know exactly what they want. Again, even if you did, you can't do that. You have to be able to listen. Remember the story of the patient that's not feeling well? They go to the doctor, nurse takes all the vitals. Nurse leaves, doctor comes in, just stands in the doorway and says, hey, I know what you have. It's going around. I'll give you everything you need at the front desk. You would feel violated, but let's assume that doctor solved the problem, saved them 10 minutes of questions and listening. Yeah, because the doctor knew the answer. The doctor knew what was going around, but the patient still needed, just like your prospect, the eyes, the listening, the questions, the really, tell me more. That's the key. So that's very important to understand. That leads us to the next one, prejudging. Because when you jump to conclusions that you need to solve an objection or question what they need, sometimes you get even worse, you prejudge. Oh, they'll never do it. They don't have money. It won't happen. When you prejudge, it sucks the life out of you. It hurts the connection. You're not giving it your all. Of course they're going to say no. You're just running in first gear. You're not trying very hard. You've got to give them 100%. With your listening, with your eyes, everything that you do. 100%. Because everybody you talk to can do business with you or know somebody that can. Just saying, very important. You understand exactly how this works. So how do you become a better listener? Undivided attention. They're the most important person in the world. You're turning off your distractions. This takes a lot of effort. That's why it's so hard. You're listening with your ears, your eyes, and your heart. You're not phubbing. Remember that one? Phone snubbing. They're listening. Oh, your phone buzzes. You look at it. Disconnect. You're not truly listening. Turn off your cell phone. Shut your laptop. Whatever you need to do to give them undivided attention. They need to feel that you get them, that you understand their problem, and that you have that solution. Another one, eye contact. I run into this one as my wife does that. I need your eyes. Oh, I'm listening. No, people need your eyes. No, not 100% of the time. Not 100% of the time. Most cultures around 70%. But you look them in the eye, shake your head, give them the nonverbals. That's very important. Another helpful one, show them sincere interest. They're the most important person. Really? Wow. Tell me more. Why do you say that? You're digging deeper, but you're showing concern. You're shaking your head. You know you're there. You're sincerely interested in. They can feel your sympathy. They can feel your empathy. They can feel that you really understand their wants and needs. Another good one, keep the conversation going. Keep it going. That's usually with questions. Wow. Let's clarify that. Why did you say that? Why did you mean that? You're asking more questions. Great salespeople ask 3 times more questions. Very important, so simple. Answer a question with a question. Your brain's not wired to do that. Wow. Why, have you tried that before? Have you seen that? Have you seen what is keeping you up at night? Well, how does that look? Tell me more about this. Clarify this for me. Help me understand. We've talked about this. Very important. Another very important one. Use silence. You want them to talk? You see great interviews. They say, wow. Silence. People just keep talking, give you more information, keep talking, give you more information, keep talking. You might want a nonverbal, really? Okay. Wow. Say something, keep looking at it with the expectation they're going to keep talking, and they usually do. Final one, pause before replying. You're thinking about it, you're pondering it. You did interrupt them, simple thing, but it rarely, rarely happens. So part of that, as we talked about here, is understanding questions. Questions always get answers. They create mental involvement. They guide the conversation. You find out their needs. Questions are gold. They'll tell you everything you need to persuade when you ask the right questions and you listen. And you're a good listener. Mental questions always get answered. You're like, what? Yeah, even mentally. They're thinking about it. You want to control the conversation, questions. You lose control of the conversation, questions. They're going off in left field, questions. Guides the conversation, It creates mental involvement. They listen more, shows that you care, and they tell you everything you need to know to sell them. Very important. Another important thing about questions, easiest questions first and open-ended questions. So easiest questions first. We've talked about getting the small yeses up front. Easiest questions first, make it easy for them. They understand, you're getting a track record, you're going, and that's how the persuasion process works, the sales process works. Easiest questions first as you go. And use open-ended questions. That's a question that you can't answer with a yes or no. Oh, well, if a genie appeared and made that look great, how would that appear? What's a perfect solution look like to you? You can't answer that with a yes or no. Now, if you're losing control of the conversation and they're talkers and they're talking way too much, maybe a yes, no, or close-ended question can work in that situation. So what are some questions you can use? What do you think about? How do you feel about? What's important about? You start coming up with questions that work for you. Train your brain to answer a question with a question. Dig deep. And when you do this, now you have the ammunition and the thoughts to turn a no into a yes. Because a lot of the times the no is a knee-jerk reaction. They're trying to get rid of you. Like, no, you talked about this is keeping you up at night. That has cost you $1 million a year. This is the solution. And you're saying no. Don't let it faze you. The game has begun. This is good. You've got the first no out of the way. Be the detective. Find out what's going on. And you're the detective by being a better listener and asking the right questions. So what do you do when you get the no? Mentally, not a big deal. This is fun. The game has begun. Remember, everything's a game. That's what Tom Boehner says. Everything's a game. Or maybe it's a trained negotiator and they're going to say no to everything. Is that the best you can do? Even though it might be the best you can do, they're still looking to do it a little bit better. That's how they are. And a lot of times when you deal with a professional that sells every day or negotiates every day, they do this sometimes to adjust the perception of value, what things are worth, the value of time, energy, resources, money. So sometimes it's just part of the program. It's part of the way to adjust your perception of what they're going to pay. For example, a blood drive. Okay, they're a blood drive, and they say, hey, we donate blood today. And a small percent said yes, but when they say, hey, would you donate blood today? And every 2 months for the next 3 years, they're like, no. Will you at least donate today? Doubles the yeses. Hey, can you get 2 hours of your time? No. Can I get 10 minutes? Doubles the yes. Hey, can I do a 2-minute survey? 25% will say yes. Can I do a 2-hour survey? No. Oh, can I get 2 minutes? Went to 50%. So strategically, it is a law of persuasion. You can use it. Other people might use it on you. Be aware. Sometimes it's refreshing to get that no. Move on. They're done. Don't waste any more time, especially if, as a detective, you haven't found exactly their wants or needs. Sometimes the no's are refreshing. You can move on and use your time with somebody else that's truly interested. Now, what about the maybe? Now, salespeople usually hate the maybe. I'll think about it. Maybe I'll do it. So you want to commit them up front. What great salespeople do, it says, hey, either way, you have to do this at the very beginning, get the agreement. Hey, either way, at the end of the presentation, we're both busy people. Yes or no? No's okay. I'm okay with that. But I need something so we don't waste each other's time. Can you promise me? Give me a yes or no at the end of the presentation. Oh, sure, I'll do that. So in those situations, you'll get the yes or no. This is the only time I'm okay with that. If you're in the middle of a sales or persuasion process, let's say you're influencing up to your manager or another company. Let's say you're influencing up to another manager. And you have this big thing you're really excited about. You're really vested in it. You want it to happen. And you're sensing that your manager is going to say no. In that situation, retreat, backtrack, use the maybe. Say, look, let me take a couple more weeks, do a little more research, see what's going on, and I'll come back with the findings. That's a maybe. Okay, let's do that. Because turning that no into a yes is much more difficult than a maybe into a yes. That's probably the time that you really want. Otherwise, in sales, most of the time you want a yes or a no to your proposal, what you're asking them to do. So let's talk about the yes. Remember, the smallest, easiest yeses first. It could be even something like, hey, can you write this down, underline that, read this sentence, raise your hand if this happened to you. Do you understand that? Do you agree with that? Are all different questions that you can ask. getting a yes when they don't feel like say yes. I've got a colleague that someone said, hey, can we meet at 3:15? He's like, ooh, can we do 3:30? 3:15 was fine, but that was just a little subtle yes. They don't feel persuaded. Write this down, underline this. Can you fill this out? Are little subtle yeses you can use along the way. Other ones you can use. Can we do 8:45 instead of 8:30? Okay, if we move to the conference room, it's okay we bring Italian for lunch. You see those getting the subtle yeses. It could be subtle little things like get from the room to where you eat to what you bring to the time of day to the day of the week. Those are things that you can do. By the way, usually in these, if you're expecting a tense sales situation, negotiation situation, in the middle of the weeks, what you're kind of looking for, I'd go for Wednesday, Thursday, early afternoon or late afternoon could be things that could be really help you out. To continue with that, the foot in the door, FITD. Start with that small yes and you keep asking the yeses until they say final yeses. You're going to make that happen. So that brings it all together with FITD, or foot in the door. Small request, larger request, simple request is first. It's how the brain works. If you're getting a lot of resistance, what you're asking is too big. Remember the study with the psychology students? Hey, will you participate in a sensory perception study Saturday, 6 a.m., early in the morning? 24% said yes. Not very good. But then they applied this. Hey, will you help us with the sensory perception study? Well, sure. Saturday available? Yeah. 6 a.m., can you be there? Yeah. Went from 24% to 56%. That's more than double. Because they made it easier. 3 yeses is always easier to brain than 1 big yes. That is foot in the door. Next piece, I call it the yo, the yes, no. Sometimes it's appropriate to get those no's out of the way. Start it, get up front. They say no, but it really means yes. Here's some examples. Any concerns before we get started? No means yes. Any reason we can't spend 10 minutes together? No means yes. Is this a bad time? No means yes. You see where we're going here? Do you think this is a bad idea, a bad use of our time? Can you think of a reason not to do this? Any reason we can't talk this afternoon? Any objection to solving this right now? Would you object to making an extra $1,000 a week? Any reason we can't find a solution for you today? Would you be concerned if we saved you $10,000 a year? See what we're doing? We're still getting the commitment here. Getting that yes. It makes such a big difference. Interesting study about getting that yes, getting commitment was done at the beach. And the person was coming, they put down a towel, just near New York City, nice beach, boardwalk. Put down the towel, and I use like a CD player, electronic device. They'd leave, go to the boardwalk, and here comes a thief to steal it. And people were watching the thief steal it. They just want to see what percent would stop. It was 20%. But the next time they did it, towel, CD player, stand up, getting ready to go to the boardwalk. You turn to the person and say, hey, you watch my things? Yes, commitment. That's how the brain works. Went from 25% to 95%. Another study done by Knox and Inkster. This was at a horse racing track. Follow this one. This one's really interesting. To where they interviewed the people in line before they placed a bet on their horse. Kind of wishy-washy, not very committed. But once they put the money down, before the race start, once they made their decision, put the money down, they were more confident with that decision. What does that mean to you? Every yes you get that they're on the right path, they're going to be more confident with their decision because in their brain, they make the best decisions. Now understand this. If you're not ready to say no, how do you get to no without saying no? How would we implement that? Where would we find that in the budget? How are we supposed to do that? What happens is that puts it back in their court. You're not really saying no. You could be buying time, maybe seeing where they're at. So even you sometimes don't want to say no. You want to buy some time, get some more information. That's just part of this. Let's talk about the homework. Formulate 10 yes questions. Look at your presentation. Look at it. How can you start it off? Maybe you want to get some yo's. Maybe there's a place for a maybe. But it's 10 questions to where by the time they answer the 10th question, they're ready to go. They're going to do it. From the easiest to the hardest, figure out what's going on. Come up with those. So not be exactly 10, but shoot for 10. Maybe you have 15. Maybe you have 5. But shoot for that. Get ready for the yes. So change your mindset. Let the games begin. We've got to know. Now we can sell. Now it's going to be fun. Now I can be the detective. Now I can do this. It's a fun game. You've got this. You can do this. So do the homework. Plus tell 3 family, friends, or enemies about the Success and Money Foundation. Do it, make it happen, change their lives. That's the goal. We're changing your lives. We're giving you one of the most valuable skills ever, learning how to sell, learn how to persuade, learn how to sell, become better, tell your family and friends and enemies, and we'll all go out and make the world a better place.
Thanks, Kurt. And again, remember the ultimate goal in sales is actually persuasion. It's actually to help you and your family and your friends to have a better life. That's really the goal. You have so many opportunities. You have so many things that you can do. And if we can figure out a way to make it more effective, we can change the world. So thank you all for watching. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back.